Hi, this is Sophiakarpman, host of Dream Big Podcast Show. Place to learn, laugh, and grow.
And this is olgakarpman. Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast.
Oprah Winfrey once said, "Be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more." Today we are welcoming you to a special Thanksgiving episode of the Dream Big Podcast. If you live in America, you know that Thanksgiving is a truly lovely season and a special time of year. It's time to get together with family, friends, and loved ones to truly enjoy and appreciate each other's company and the little things you have. In today's special episode, I'm going to talk about one of the simple things, but so important for our life. It's a feeling of gratitude. We will also tell you a story of a man who complained a lot and ended up living with all the animals he had. His life was a zoo. Stay tuned to the very end, Big Dreamers, to discover what he learned from it.
You know what time it is, Big Dreamers? This is episode 382. And it's time
to dream big!
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
And since we're talking about gratitude, I'd like to thank you for learning with us for each episode. Thank you so much for sharing Dream Big Podcast with your community. Thank you so much for leaving your heartfelt reviews and writing us very, very sweet emails. My heart is filled with joy knowing there's somewhere out there on the other side of the country, or maybe even on the other side of the world, who is learning and growing with me every episode. I want to thank my sister Eva, who started this podcast, my mom and dad, who helped me record and post all of these to you. I want to let you know that you are a big part of this journey, and I'm very grateful for it.
Sophia, and we're very, very grateful for you. And your joy, your enthusiasm for life is contagious. I am very, very grateful for you. And as you mentioned, Sophia, I'm very grateful for Eva, who started this podcast when she was only 7 years old, just like you. And it's been already, over 6 years that every single Monday we tune in to bring new messages to our wonderful community. So we thank you for listening, for sharing, for being here, and for learning and growing with us. Big Dreamers, if you live in America or Canada, you know that this is a special time of year for Thanksgiving season. And this is the time to celebrate the things that you're grateful for. And of course, enjoy the company of people you love the most. Maybe your friends, family, maybe you visiting grandparents. Of course, it's time to cook turkey and maybe even eat chocolate turkey if you have that tradition in your house. But do you know that Thanksgiving was originally a holiday to give thanks to God for the harvest? Today it's an opportunity to give thanks for all the good things life has given us. It's also a day to celebrate family, who is a huge part of our lives. Thanksgiving actually started in the 19th century, but it wasn't until 1863 when President Abraham Lincoln declared two national Thanksgivings. One was in August and the other one in November to give thanks for general blessings. And that's the holiday we celebrate today. It is now a national holiday in the North American continent, and it's celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November.
Around Thanksgiving, we usually talk about being grateful. And Big Dreamers, have you ever forgot how to be grateful? Me and you most likely have roofs over our heads, and blankets to keep us warm, and a few toys, food on our tables, people around us who love us the most. But that's unfortunately not what everybody in this world has. Also, none of us have a lifetime guarantee that what we have is here forever. That's why I love to practice in my heart gratitude every single night. Me and my family have a tradition. When we're having our family dinner, we practice gratitude, and we all go around the table and we say something we're grateful for each person. Like sometimes I say, Mommy, thank you for cooking us this wonderful dinner. It tastes great.
Or we say, thank you so much for giving compliment today. Or maybe, thank you so much for singing a song today. Or I appreciate how you were so kind and played with your sister today. You can use this practice during dinner time, or maybe in the car ride, or just before bedtime. It's also important to express gratitude for yourself. Maybe you love the way you dressed today. Maybe you were extra joyful today. Maybe you gave someone compliments. Make sure you appreciate you for who you are, and also notice the things you're grateful for about yourself.
There are a couple of games you can play during Thanksgiving, like the family tree and the thankful jar. Let's start with the thankful jar. Sometimes me and my sister do this around Christmas. We made a little jar and we put a snowman on it. And whenever me and my sister were bored, my sister or me would pick something out. We'd go ask each other if we'd like to do the game that's on the paper. Like once we picked out play with Play-Doh. So I asked Eva, do you want to play with one of my Play-Dohs? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And that is one of the games you can play. You can do the same thing about Thanksgiving. Write something that you're thankful for in a jar and pick it out. Play this during your Thanksgiving dinner and pick one out. See what happens and just have fun with it.
Another fun game you can play is a family tree. Every member of the family will receive a piece of paper and they will have to draw a tree and indicate each member of the family on that tree. See who will create the tree with most members of the family.
Mom, that sounds fun. I'm going to suggest that to our family on Thursday.
I love that idea, Sophia. Sophia, do you remember at the beginning of the podcast, we mentioned about the story we're going to share with our big dreamers? Are you ready?
Yeah. Cuddle up, big dreamers, because this story will teach you when we change the things we look at, the things we look at change.
This story is about a poor man who lived with his wife and his many children in a very small one-room house. They were always getting in each other's way because the house was so small and there was so little space that they could hardly breathe.
Finally, the man was fed up. He couldn't stand it. Him and his wife talked to each other and decided to go ask for help. And so the man went to see the wisest person in the village.
Poor man started his story with complaining about everything that's going on in his life. We're even starting to yell and fight with each other. Life couldn't be worse. We can't live in these conditions anymore. And the wisest person said, well, if I give you advice, do you promise me that you actually gonna implement it? Poor man said, yes, of course. That's why I'm here. Then the wisest person said, well, then you need to go home right now. And do you have any animals? Yes, said the poor man. I have 1 cow, 1 goat, and some chickens. Good, the wisest person said. When you get home, take all the animals into your house to live with you.
The poor man was shocked about this advice. He was thinking, how could they all live in one room with all the animals? But he promised he was going to do it, so he kept his promise.
He came home, told his wife what kind of advice he got, and of course, he told about his promise, and they brought all animals in that one teeny tiny room. The next day, poor man went back to the wisest person in the village. And he said, what have you done to me? he cried. It's awful. I did exactly what you told me, and now all the animals destroying my house. Please help me.
The wisest person said, "Now go home and take all the chickens back outside." The poor man did just that. But he hurried back to the wisest person next day.
He cried, "The chickens are gone, but now the goat is smashing up all the furniture and eating everything he sees."
And the wisest person said, "Well, go home and remove the goat."
So the poor man did just that. But the next day, he hurried back to the wisest person.
"What a nightmare you brought to my house. I still have a cow living inside, and it's like a stable. Can human beings even live with an animal like this?"
And the wisest person said sweetly, "Well, my friend, you're right. Go home now and take the cow out of your house."
And the poor man went quickly home and took the cow out of the house.
The next day, he came running back to that wisest person again. And he said with a big smile on his face,
"We have such a good life now. The animals are out of the house is quiet, and we've got a room to spare. What a joy!"
Wow, what a story, right, big dreamers? You can see that perspective is everything.
It's not what we see, but it's the way we see it. Like I said in the beginning, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And as Abraham Lincoln once said, most of us are just as happy as we make our minds up to it.
Big dreamers, today we invite you to think about your biggest complaint in life and maybe think about the story and the things that it taught you. And that's, I think, a good wrap up for our episode. Big dreamers, make it a challenge for yourself to play one of the games that we suggested today and make it a not Thanksgiving Day only, but make it a Thanksgiving week. And each day you can be doing something that you're grateful for, or you can give thanks to people you love, or you can do kind things. And I'm sure this season will bring you a lot of joy. If you enjoyed this episode, then please tell your friends and family about the Dream Big Podcast, and you can point them to dreambigpodcast.com/382. If everyone listening would tell just one person about the podcast, that would get our show in front of so many new big dreamers, which we would be forever grateful. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes. We read them, and you can go to dreambigpodcast.com/iTunes. And you can also send us email, olga@dreambigpodcast.com. Please also join us on Instagram, Dream Big Podcast. We read your messages, and we share pictures and funny stories of Sophia there.
Mom, I also have a little surprise.
What is that, Sophia?
I'll give you a hint. Silly Sophia's back.
Oh, I love your jokes. Come on, bring it on.
Why was the turkey the drummer at the band?
Why?
Because he had the drumsticks. Ooh, one more. Wacky has legs and can open doors.
What?
A turkey.
I love those, Sophia. You always bring us so much joy. Thank you for that.
That's a wrap, big dreamers. As always, thank you so much for tuning into the Dream Big Podcast. This is Sophiakarpman
and olgakarpman,
reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional. You need to make them essential. So take massive action and turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. We love you.